Welcome to Ask Glenn, everyone. I have Cydney with me here today, and so I'm going to let Miss Cydney take it away and explain the story to you guys, and then we'll just carry on.
Hello, Wynn. Thank you so much for inviting me today. I was really excited to have an opportunity to introduce myself and to get to know you. I actually ended up here because I think we're in the same podcast group, and there are so many interesting stories out there. And mine started a long time ago in Vancouver, BC. I'm a tender 62 years old. I started off in life as a national level competitive figure skater. I loved it. I still think that walking is a strange and a natural act. And I was just always happier on the ice. I just felt like, they say a duck to water. And when I was 18 and getting ready to compete for the next national championship, one of the skaters skated into me and almost severed my leg. So that was pretty scary. I almost died. I almost bled out. My skating coach saved my life. And it was a good 45 minutes later before the ambulance came. So I really should have died. They did an emergency surgery and did it together. They did it the way they did in those days. And in what they did was when my doctors came home, because it was the Christmas season, they put together a team of doctors from the US, because I'm Canadian, and they invited 5 US doctors here to do the first microneurosurgery. And they literally took my leg apart and they put it back together because I had sciatic nerve damage. That was the thing, is that there was no messages going from my thigh, the top of my right thigh, to the bottom. So I had I could stand on it, but I couldn't control it. So if I hit a pebble, I would just fall down, and I'd just have to get back up. So slowly, after the operation, I was able to regain use of my leg. Not 100%, but the doctors said that it was 100%, but I don't have perfect plantar action. So I was never able to compete again, but the recovery was so long. It took about a year and a half or two. I went back to school and I studied fashion design, because in my skating career, I did all of my own costumes, and I really already understood fabric and colors and trying to create something of beauty. And so it was really a wonderful segue into the world of fashion. And I was very lucky. I was able to really, shall we say, hit the runway at top speed, because I already knew about choreography and how to do fashion shows and to set the music and to have all of my designs. And I became an international fashion designer. So I've been very blessed my whole life. I traveled all over the world. I did QVC, that is the TV shopping channel, in 8 countries around the world. And 8 years ago now, I caught something, nothing more exciting than mono, which is also known as Epstein-Barr, and it's a virus, and it crashed my immune system. That is the thing that, when you're 12 or you're 18, you're supposed to get when you're in high school, and it kind of makes you really tired and you kind of miss a semester of your schooling. I mean, maybe you've had it. I mean, a lot of my friends had it when, we were teenagers, but somehow I missed that. I waited to get it when I was 54, but it crashed my immune system, and I ended up in the hospital pretty much almost dying. They had to do an operation to save my life. I was stuck in the hospital, learning how to breathe again, how to walk again. I thought it was just a mess. I was there for 2 months. And I lost almost all of my hair, and I still was contracted to the TV shopping channels. And when you're supposed to show up for the live shows. And I even opened QVC Italia from my hospital bed. Can you imagine?
I can't. Wonderful there. Wonder Woman. Gee, bees.
Really crazy, right? I mean, the things that we have to do when we don't know we have to do them, like we were talking about earlier before we started recording this, is that the things you have to plan for, like how to get out of the house if
Yeah,
the fire is a little bit too close
yeah,
and you need to get on and do your escape route. So
yeah.
yeah, I opened up QVC Italia from my hospital bed, but upon reflection I realized that you know the changes and the things I had to think about when my accident happened when I was 18 and how I put myself back together. And I just took all of my life lessons and I was able to apply it to fashion and do what was next for me. And that is what I did after my second near death experience at 54. Is that I sort of said, you know what, maybe it's time to step down off of the TV stage and start thinking about what's the next iteration of my life. So my naturopath helped create a formula so I could grow back all of my hair. I mean, it's really um, when we want to go out the door and we want to present ourselves to our best, I didn't want to go on TV without my hair, and I didn't want to do it in a natural way. I didn't want, some of the pharma meds they were offering me, which I just, I wanted to heal naturally. So this for me was a good choice. And I also didn't want to do extensions and add, or wear a wig or things like that. So when it worked so well, I ended up creating my Cydney Mar Wellness, which is my vitamins and supplements. It's a bioactive vitamin line that I sell all over the world. And so I've been able to sort of shift my life. So this has been really fun for me. And one of the things I like to talk about is when other people are facing challenges, is to really think about what are your skills and what can you do? Because also, I was thinking to put aside my fashion career and not really do any more production. But then, as you and I know, we're in this pandemic and now we all need to wear face masks. So I ended up calling my friends in the trade a couple of months ago when the lockdowns first started and said, okay, who's got factories? How can we restart them? Let's start designing things. And so here on my dining room table, I started designing and making patterns for a really nicely fitting, what I thought would be prettier face
Yeah.
mask.
I I admit, you guys, I am having trouble. I am having trouble finding a cute face mask that actually fits because I have a DVA septum
Hmm.
and I have a small face to begin with.
Hmm.
So these hospital medical grade masks are for the birds. I'm like, okay, I'll mask up when I need to. But of course I'm in a mask lawn state of Colorado, and
Hmm.
it's like, really? Why can't they come up with cute hospital masks? Why
Yeah.
can't they come up with a cute hosp hospital mask, something I wanna wear?
Exactly. And I think that now that, we want to interact with people, we want to do it safely. So, actually, I'm going to talk to you when we get off this call, Win, and ask you to take a peek on my website and see if there's
Yeah,
anything that appeals to you. Because I bet you a nickel we can get you a cute face mask that
yeah,
actually fits your face, that is nice over your nose. And so that is what also happened is that here I was building my vitamin line. I thought, okay, I'm just going to do that, but then I think the world calls you to do other things. So I started developing my face mask, and now I've started working with the federal government on, face masks, kind of face masks for everybody, so that they're different communities or they're, every, from their police forces and all of that to get them masked up and properly, but they still have to fit properly. So who knew that I would take my fashion, my couture background on how to make patterns and how to make a good fit into face masks? But that's exactly, you just have to kind of not roll with the punches, but you have to see what does the world need now. What inspiration do they need? What physical products do they need? What kind of services do they need? And this is, like you said, it's hard to find one that fits.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. In the moment I say that, people are like, "When? You're fine," and I'm like, "No, I'm not. I am high risk people too." So
yeah,
I'm like, CDC has already put me on a list um, called cerebral palsy is high risk for coronavirus, and I'm like, great. Now I really can't go out of my house, and that's why I've been sucking up for 5 months. But it's like, really great. Give me a mask that's cute, and give me a mask that fits well, and then I can be the happiest kid on the planet. But
yeah.
anyway,
And the other,
anyway,
I was thinking, if at least if they're cute, I mean, if they fit well, then we're doing the trick, right? If they're cute, we'll actually wear them, because it's also hard to inspire people to wear them.
yes, it's all to inspire people to wear ugly. Let's put it bluntly, ugly hospital mask because they're not cute. They're not cute. And for those of you that don't know me, I was getting a degree in fashion journalism, but I decided to switch programs to a strictly journalism school. But at the same time, I'm a fashionista, so I need a cute mask, and I need a cute mask that I'll actually wear and inspire others to wear because it's like ugly hospital no mask for the birds. I'm sorry, but all masked up, but as long as it's cute and it fits well.
Yeah. You know what's funny is that I also use that same thinking when, because when I was in the hospital and, you have so many medications to take, and those little jars or those little bottles, they're ugly and they remind you of being sick. And I thought that's really a misery. And so when I made my vitamins, I made them really pretty looking, and I packed them in organza bags, and the name is kind of the claim. So my vitamin for fabulous hair, skin, and nails is really pretty. So when people take it, they aren't reminded that, hey, I have no hair. Do you know what I mean? It's not
Yeah,
like, and so I think that when they open up the cupboard and they see their vitamins, then they go, oh yeah, I got to take that. I've got another one that actually works on a cellular level, and it's called Happy Cells. So why wouldn't you want to take that? You know what I mean?
exactly.
So
Exactly. No. Why wouldn't you want to take that and and no, we got to make things cute for the women and the guys. Don't
yeah,
worry about the guys because they want to um they want to look good as well. And so, I so
I
like
was one of one of my clients, friends and clients at my gym. He's a big motorcyclist. He's sort of like one of those guys that does work with the military. He's
yeah,
on a think tank, and for him, getting on his motorcycle and really being able just to let his brain relax is what he loves to do. So he said, Sid, he says, what have you got in face masks that's going to fit my big head? Because he's different than you. He doesn't have a small face, but he has a big head. So the average, it's going to sound funny, but the average from your ear, see this part, is
yeah,
10 inches. So I have a group of face masks that's based on just average adults. And then I have another group of face masks that I made that can be made bigger and smaller. And when I made I looked at it and I said, okay, well, that should fit, but just double check the measurement from here to here. And he said, okay, it's 13 and a half inches. So he's 3.5 inches on his head bigger. And he's not like Paul Bunyan. He's maybe 6'2", you know? And so I dropped it off at the club, and then he phoned me from the club. He said, oh my God, this is the best ever. And it's a dark navy camouflage with the adjustable. And he said, I get on my motorcycle. It's long enough from here to here because, like different than say us. who have the little faces. He needed, some of the guys' noses are bigger, right? Their
Yeah.
faces are bigger, their faces, so it was really perfect, and I was really delighted when he was so excited to have something that was washable, reusable, had a little nose clip, is comfortable, and, not breaking his ears, to put on, and that he could go and enjoy the countryside on his motorcycle.
Well, that's a success story right there. Now, Ted, what is your morning routine?
My morning routine, well, I do what I call my morning practices. So I have a series of gratitude journaling that I do where I like to think about all of the things that I'm grateful for. I also like to look at my what I call my visions in terms of things that I'm looking to manifest into my life. From time to time, I might change them. And I also happen to live by myself, but with the pleasure of a beautiful puppy and a very cute talking bird. His name is Chuck. Actually, I'm going to lean this way. I don't know if you can see, but see underneath the blue picture over there?
I do.
There is a large, round bird cage, and
I
that's
do.
Chuck in there. And my puppy is laying on the floor. But so part of my morning routine is I make breakfast for Chuck, for Princess Shiloh, for myself. And then I sit down, I take my vitamins, and I do my morning prayers. And I find that, you know, even if it makes my day start a little bit later, it's just a much better day if I always take the time to get grounded and to count my blessings and to look at what is the most important thing that I can do to kind of move the needle forward, something that's good for me and something that's good for the world.
Yeah. And then what is your favorite book?
My favorite book. My favorite book. Oh goodness. I have a number of favorite books. I see you've got books all around you, and my library is over there. So I don't. You won't
Yeah.
see my wall of books over there. But gosh, one of the books I've been really loving is his Tenants is by Don Miguel. It's the Four Agreements. I don't know if you've ever read it, but
I ha I have heard of it, but
Mhm.
I haven't um read it.
Well, if you're ever looking for a very profound, small, fabulous book to read, I would highly recommend it. He talks about the four agreements in terms of sort of character values, not to make assumptions. Like, for instance, if you think someone's cranky with you, don't assume it's about you, for instance, to always be impeccable with your word, to also, what are the rest of the agreements to do the things that you said you would do, to be impeccable with your word, not to make assumptions, and always do your best. And I think that one of the reasons I love that book so much is because it's helped be a guiding light for my life. Do you have a favorite book? What's your favorite book?
I My favorite book, and I'm re-listening to it again because I was such in a haze the first time that I listened to it that I'm actually re-listening to it again. And believe it or not, shoot me now, but it's a politics book and it's Becoming by Michelle Obama. And that
Wonderful.
is, I am re-listening to that book because I was such in a haze when I read it the first time that I needed to re-listen to it now that I'm in a clear state
Mhm.
and out of my haze just a little bit. And then yeah, so that's my ultimate favorite book. And people know this, I want Michelle Obama on my podcast.
Oh,
People know it. I want Michelle Obama on my podcast. You
well,
people know that
why don't you
now.
contact her and ask. She's actually, I mean, she's fabulous. I mean, I loved her speech at the DNC, and I recently joined a library so that I could download more audiobooks, because, some books you have the chance to read, and some, when you're kind of puttering around, you can listen to them. So
Yeah.
her book, I've put her book on hold, or I'm in the queue. I think there's a few more people in front of me who are going to read it first or listen to it first,
Yeah.
but I've put it on my list.
It's a fabulous book. It's a
Yeah.
fabulous book.
Yeah.
It's a fabulous book. And so, Sid, if you had your BFF write a book about you, what would the title be?
Oh goodness. I don't know. I don't know how to answer. That's a big question. That's a big scary question. I really I don't know how to answer that one. Um you've really got me on that one, Win. You really have me. You have the cat's got my tongue on that one. I don't know. I don't even know how to answer that.
Well, that's typically people come up with the answers on the spot, but maybe the next time I interview you, you would come up with that answer, because that would be a interesting question to ask your best friend if you had to write uh if I had to write a book, and what would the title be?
Yeah. Well, okay, I have to tell you that I was thinking about one book to write, and you're going to laugh. You're going to laugh at me, because I did come up with the title for it, and it'll be a short book, and it'll be a book that no one expects from me. Maybe they would, because of my skating career, because of all of the work that I've done in my fashion business and more. One of the things I am is I'm really organized, and or being organized doesn't seem like a very sexy thing. Like I was asking you, how are you organized in case you need to, evacuate your home, and you were really you had it all organized. But
Yeah.
I think that people think that that's kind of a boring thing, but I think it's really necessary, which is why I was happy to hear that you also, put that on your podcast with an ex-fireman, etc., because these are things people don't think about. So the book that I would love to write would be called The Other Big O: Organizational Skills and Bringing a New Level of Sexy Back
I
to
like it.
Organizational
I
Skills.
like it. I like it. I like it. There's a big O. I like it. I
Yeah,
like it.
so I think that would be fun.
So, okay. If you had to move and take things with you, 5 things, and yes, animals can come, what would they be?
If I had to take 5 things with me,
Yes,
and
and
my
animals are welcome to come.
okay, so I would take my puppy, my bird, okay, um, my puppy's leash, her food, and my birdie's food, and those are the things I would start with. I would always want to provide for them, and I'm sure that if I had to just grab those things, I could figure out the rest for myself.
Yep, yep. Most people say laptops and computers. You're like, let's deal with the animals first, and then deal with the laptops and computers, the laptops and cell phones later.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What's a laptop if I mean, if I could squeeze in my phone so I could contact people, but
yeah,
I want to, like if I had to run, if I didn't have food for my animals, what would I do?
yeah, yeah. No, good point. Most people
Yeah.
say I'll take my laptop and I'll take my phone, but good point. When you have animals, it's like they're relying on you. So excellent point. Yes, people. when you listen to this and when you think about, um, because I ask all my guests that, I say, what would you take if you could only take 5 things with you for the exception? And yes, humans and animals, other humans are welcome to come. Animals are welcome to come. But that's a good point. If we are dealing with animals, since they're relying on our humans, it's like, okay, we we take the animals, but then we forget about the logistics for the animals.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Like my bird can't eat human food. I mean, yes,
yeah,
he eats some. You know, he has fruits and
yeah.
vegetables, but he needs seeds. You know, um,
Mm,
and you can't go to an A&W and get seeds. You
no,
know,
no, you can't. You can't. So there we go. So, Cindy, do you have any questions for me as we wrap this interview up?
well, I'm curious to know what inspired you in the first place to start this podcast. I mean, I'm sure there was an aha moment, and I'm always curious to know what inspires people.
Well, my aha moment was my mom dying, and then that led to me writing a book, and that led to me hitting the publish button on that book, and then getting myself in a little bit of a pickle and saying, "Oh, great! Now that I hit the publish button on this book, how in the world am I going to market this book?" And at the time, I was listening to podcasts and about book writing, and I remember listening to this podcast, which I still listen to today,
Hmm.
and I it's called The Creative Pen, Penn,
Okay.
based by Joanna Penn, who is a top independent published author in the UK. And so she's phenomenal at what she does. And so I realized that something was a niche. I had a niche. And so when I typed in the words cerebral palsy, there was nothing. There was
Wow.
nothing. And do you know the last time I did research on cerebral palsy, there was three, there was 17 podcasts. Three of them belonged to me.
Wow.
And yeah, and so that's why I started this podcast. It started out as a YouTube channel, but I literally had my fan base tell me when I want to support you, I want to support the YouTube channel, but I can't keep my laptop open to support you. I need to be multitasking. I need to be working. So that's why I put my books. Speaking of books on audio tape,
Oh,
so
great.
but my books on audio tape.
Right.
So
That's so you were able to get your message out and you put it on a platform that was more accessible to your niche. So like I was just saying about, you know, the Michelle Obama and me joining the library so I could get more audiobooks because that way I could have the pleasure of listening. And so you moved over to a podcast so that it would be easier for people to tune in.
consume, yes,
Right.
consume. I didn't move over to a podcast. To the barrier with YouTube is extreme. The barrier with YouTube is extreme. Trust me, I have a YouTube channel and it's active, but the barrier of a podcast is you can listen to it in a third world country. You can listen to it as you're walking. You can listen to it as you're doing other stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's wonderful. And how long have you had this podcast going?
10 years.
Wow! Oh,
10
wow!
years.
Already
And
crazy.
almost, um, we're almost at 2,000 episodes. I have done over 13, over 13,000 episodes on
Wow!
this feed.
Wow!
And so 10 years. So
Do they come out? How do you plan them? Like once a week? Is that or
Tuesdays and Thursdays.
wow?
Tuesdays is a well, it's a semi-solo show, and then um, and I say semi-solo because my girlfriend and I do it on Tuesdays, and then we have an extension of on another feed called The Artwork of CP, where she and I get together and talk about cerebral palsy
Right.
and um, and so and then Thursdays is my interview show. And so Tuesdays and Thursdays, people get a dose of me. And people like, what? If I miss a day, people like, where's my podcast? I need a dose of you. And they're gonna get a really wild goose chasey thing here in the
Well,
next in the
you're
next couple weeks that may put the podcast a little bit on hold. But once they understand what's going on, they will completely respect me and why the podcast is
yeah.
getting on hold.
It's interesting because, as I shared with you, I was on TV Shopping Channel for almost 15 years. And because when we think about the whole idea of, sort of being at home and your viewership or your listeners or what have you, I mean, it's like a lifeline. And what I realized over time, and because I was creating a fashion collection for TV Shopping Channel, I did make sure that they were sort of easier to put on clothes, nice stretchy fabrics, that they would look good, and so it wasn't just, I learned that many of my viewers were perhaps, someone who either maybe was in a wheelchair or someone who just maybe they couldn't move their arms as well, so you had to think about how are you going to put it
Yeah,
on and how many buttons did it have, were the buttons in the back, like
exactly.
who has someone in the house to zip up a zipper in the back, like I
Not
don't, you know
very many people. Not very many people. And I to say that I I know that Will Lauren does a handicapped accessible line for the people with disabilities for kids and adults with disabilities. But the last time I looked at it, there wasn't very cute. So what I need someone to do for me is design a line in conjunction with me that that is cute because um I would like I get away with leggings and nice tops
Mhm.
all the time. Although today I don't have a nice top on, but I get away with leggings and nice tops, and that's how I roll.
Yeah.
And people are like, "Win, you're such a fashionista. You're such a journalist. How do you get away with all that?" I'm like, hello, I have a physical disability, cerebral palsy. I need help. Number one, I need help. Number two, I can't do buttons. I can't do jeans. I have jeans, but they're leggings, they're jeggings, and they look like jeans, and I get away with it. But it's like, hello, we need to make the disabled fashion cute. We don't need to make it look like that's one of my biggest gripes, Sydney. Trust me, I'll be here for an hour on the soapbox. But um that's one of my biggest gripes is that the disabled fashion isn't cute, you guys. It's not cute.
Yeah. Well, what I realized also is, I did my well, first of all, my mother was a very elegant, classy woman. And so I had a lot of influence from her. But, I started off as a couture designer. So one of the things I have as a superpower is I have good taste. But good taste or great taste is applicable at any price point. It doesn't have to be a couture item. Do you know what I mean? Like we can
Yep.
design, we can bring that level of taste. Like in my later years, not only doing my own collection on QVC, but if Walmart needed something, like I helped reconfigure and redesign the George line. So there were a lot of really fun items that were easy, that had a great level of taste, that was a really cute fabric, that were easy to get on, they were easy to make. So we were able to ship a lot of goods. And even though it was a much less expensive price point, still bring a level of taste to that market,
Yep.
right?
Exactly. And my my stepmom is in retail management,
Right.
and she has the most taste that I have ever seen in out of a woman. And also, my biological mom loves good taste as well in clothes.
Mm-hmm.
And um, if you've seen pictures of my biological mom on my Instagram feed, you guys are floating around social media, you'll see that fashion is in my blood and looking good is in my blood. But
Yeah.
at the same time, it doesn't have to be at um, couture prices. It doesn't have to be thousands and thousands of dollars.
It
It
doesn't.
can be a pair of jeans from Walmart put together with a nice top, and then people will think, oh, that's a nice top and nice pants. They don't need to know that the jeans are from Walmart. I mean,
Well, you know what I'm wearing right now? I should stand up for fun because this was a design that I did for Walmart on a specialized collection they were doing. I don't know if you remember, a number of years ago they did a collection that was all about, they wanted to show Bollywood, and they wanted to have ethnic inspired collections. So I did one called Black Koi. So I'm just going to stand up just for fun. And this is a little it's a tunic, so it has a little this part's knit. And then I don't know if you can see it from here. Isn't it cute?
I
Here, I'm
can. I
here's, and I've
can.
got leggings underneath. There you see my mic, but see, it says a really pretty little print, and I've got leggings on underneath. But I just pulled it out the other day. Sorry to sort of put my belly on, but I pulled it out the other day because I thought, yeah, that's what I feel like wearing, and then I remembered that I did it for Black Koi, and I just loved it. And so when you design things that are not only comfortable, because this is not many people would combine a jersey like this with a satin like this, but it
Yeah,
works.
it works.
Yeah,
And it doesn't have to be the it doesn't have to be an astronomical point as long as it's cute. As
exactly.
long as it's cute. And yeah, as long as it's cute and comfy and it's like just with mask thing as we mentioned earlier. Give me
Yeah,
a cute mask, I'll be happy to
yeah,
wear it out and actually talk in it, and it's like, give me a hospital grade mask. I'm looking at one as we do this interview. I'm like, who the heck wants to wear a hospital grade blue mask? I'm like, no, give
and
me
did
give
and did
me
you know
something cute.
And did you know that the doctors and nurses are fitted for their masks? That just taking, one off the, like those flat blue ones or whatever color, they often pleat here. Like because of the pleat, there's a gap here. And that is a no-no, because if there's air, then it's no good, because then you're not holding your breath inside. So it's funny because one of the pleated mask that I'm working on, I actually worked together with one of my favorite couture pattern makers. I could have done the pattern myself, but you know, to make it flat, but flat, like flat pleats and flat here, we actually had to incorporate the dart values. I have to tell you, it was expensive to do. It was hard to do. They look like they're not perfect. And then when you put them on, they're perfect because bodies have are 3D. You know, the shape of being cupped over your face. So there's a lot of things to consider. But so I loved making that one because I know that you know, it's like a medical mask, but better.
Yeah. And masks are not going away.
No.
We will we are sitting here today on August 24th. This
Yeah.
stupid thing has been, and I hate to call it a stupid thing. Don't get me wrong. I'm looking at it as it's a huge thing, but this stupid thing has impacted all lives and all how we interact with people,
Yeah.
how we interact with people are so shocked nowadays when I say I like your mask. And they're like, what? You actually like my mask? And I'm like, yes. And that's a compliment. And it's like we have to be mindful of what we say to people now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. And it's so I find it so weird that masks have become a little bit political. But you know what? I'm just going to do what I can,
Yeah,
and then you know, try not to put myself in
yeah,
physical harm. You know, if I think that people are being, you know, like it was funny. I got a private message from this guy who was hitting on me, and he was like, "Oh, do you want to go for a drink?" So, like, first of all, why would you ask me to go for a drink? Because that's where all the germs are. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like,
No.
doesn't make sense.
Uh-uh. Nope.
Yeah,
That's where all the Germans are and social distancing and
yeah,
people like if I not wearing the mask, it's my right. I'm like, do you want to pay my hospital bill? I'm
exactly.
like, nope. Do you want to pay my hospital bill? And they back up when I say that. And
Yeah,
it's like, then stay home if you don't want to wear a mask. That's how I feel about it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's we have to take care of ourselves first. We have to look at what can we do to protect others, and you know, as you were talking about earlier, you know, is inspiring others to do the right thing. You know, one of the things I do also with my puppy is, and I've done this for years. I did it with my, you know, her predecessors, which was Jack, Mia, and Sarah. I had a gang of or a herd of miniature schnauzers, and they all became elderly and passed away. And so that's why I have my little puppy now. But one of the things we do is my neighbors give me their throwaway plastic bags because I use reusables myself. But because I have a lot of poop bags, um, I'm able to pick up the uh, trash while we're walking. But yeah, I'm picking up poop anyway, so I just put it in the throwaway bag, and we dispose of it when we get back, you know, to the apartment. And you know, the we all each need to do the things that are heartfelt
Yeah.
and that we can do to inspire others. I try not to be cranky at the person who left the trash. I just say, okay, Mother Earth, you're making me great ingredients for my vitamins. Let me do a little something for you. And I think that I've inspired people in my neighborhood um, to just be, like you said, a little more mindful.
A little more mindful. That's
Hmm.
all we need.
Yeah.
And Cydney, where can people find you? Of course, where can people find your mask? Of course, and then of course, where can people find your hair supplement and your skin supplements? Because yeah,
Yeah. I'm easy to find. They're welcome to look for me on Facebook, and I have my Cydney Mar personal profile. I have my Cydney Mar Wellness Facebook page. I have also my Cydney Mar, which is my design page, which is anybody who has a product idea who wants to hop on a call with me can definitely book a call, and I'll help you figure out if it's
Yeah.
feasible, because I can pretty much make anything after all those years on QVC. And for my face mask, I decided to put the love word into it. So it is Face Mask Love. I have that on Facebook, and all of those have adjoining websites. So you can reach out to me if you can't find what you're looking for. Happy to help. If you're just looking to boost your health and beauty, I also have a health and beauty chit chat so that I can help people, because when, as we've been chatting, you've been watching me drink my water, right?
Yeah.
So I realize that even though I have my beautiful vitamins, if I couldn't get people to drink water,
Yeah.
I wasn't going to be able to help them. So I have some programs. I have a program which is a freebie called Reboot Your Radiance, which is all of my keys, from being an elite athlete and an international fashion designer and fairly healthy all around, to encourage people to drink enough water, to sleep enough, to exercise as they can, to, again, be mindful for their health and beauty. Because if you're going to show up in the world, you want to feel well,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
So I hope that some of your viewers will reach out to me. I'm happy to help where I can, and I'm really deeply grateful for being invited to your
Well,
podcast. Thank you
well,
so
you
much.
are welcome. You are welcome. And I hope you guys enjoyed this episode with Cydney, and go support Cydney and go live your dreams just as Cydney and I have. And I'll catch you guys next week with another fabulous episode. Bye, you guys.